So look, we need to talk about something that's been blowing up all over social media lately. And honestly, it's about time. When the NBA posted a birthday tribute to Karl Malone on July 24th, they probably expected the usual happy birthday legend type comments. Instead, they got absolutely roasted in the replies. Over 2,000 comments, and most of them weren't exactly celebrating the mailman's career. But here's where it gets really interesting. Victor Wembanyama, the 7'4" French rookie sensation, decided to jump into the conversation. Now, this kid is 21 years old, grew up in France, and you'd think he'd have no clue about decades-old American basketball drama, right? Wrong. Wemby reposted this video of a content creator absolutely losing it over the NBA's post. The guy in the video is screaming, "What? Oh no! See, that's what we not gonna do! Police! Lock his ass up!" And Wembanyama just shared it. No caption, no explanation, just that repost speaking volumes. Think about that for a second. A French kid who's barely been in the league knows about this, but somehow it's been swept under the rug for years. That tells you everything about how the league handles uncomfortable truths. Now, if you think that was wild, wait until you hear what happened when Patrick Beverley found out. Pat Bev's been in the NBA for over a decade. He's been around the block, knows the game inside and out. So when he was doing his podcast and building an all-time fantasy team, he picked Karl Malone. Makes sense, right? 2-time MVP, 14-time All-Star, 3rd all-time in scoring. The numbers don't lie. Then his co-host drops this bomb. What about his off-court stuff? Beverley's like, "I don't really know much about that." And that's when everything changes. His co-host tells him, he got a 13-year-old pregnant when he was 20. Beverley literally called a timeout on his own show. I'm talking full timeout. His jaw hit the floor. The man went completely silent, which if you know Pat Bev, that's basically impossible. When the details got confirmed, that Malone was a 20-year-old college sophomore at Louisiana Tech when this happened, you could see Beverley's whole world shift. The clip went absolutely viral. People were saying it was the most likable Pat Bev had ever been, just for having a normal human reaction to hearing something that disturbing. Even Lou Williams posted it with "Yay, buddy," and Beverley retweeted it saying he had no idea that he must live under a rock. Here's the thing, though. This happened in 1983. Under Louisiana law, the age of consent was 17. This wasn't just morally wrong, it was legally wrong. A felony that could have gotten Malone 10 years in prison, but charges were never filed because the family reportedly didn't want to derail his basketball career. The child from that situation, Demetrius Bell, ended up playing in the NFL, but he basically grew up without a father. When they finally met after Demetrius graduated high school, Malone told him it was too late for a relationship and that he'd have to make it on his own. Demetrius later said he treated it like his mom went to the sperm bank. Just devastating. And Malone's response when this all resurfaced? "I'm not discussing any of that, I don't care. That's my life, that's my personal life." That's it. No remorse, no accountability, nothing. But wait, there's more. Because Malone's issues don't stop there. Fast forward to 2004, Malone joins the Lakers, teaming up with Shaq and Kobe to chase that championship ring he never got in Utah. He becomes friendly with Kobe's family, their wives hang out, they're doing playdates with the kids. Kobe sees him as a mentor, an older brother type. Then Malone absolutely destroys that trust in the worst way possible. During a Lakers game against the Bucks, Malone was out with a knee injury, sitting courtside in a cowboy hat and boots. Vanessa Bryant was there, and according to Kobe's agent at the time, Rob Pelinka, Malone made her incredibly uncomfortable. He allegedly invited her to sit next to him for a big hug that would make magazine covers. Asked if she liked him. When she reminded him she was married and he was old enough to be her father, he said, "Oh, like your daddy?" But the worst part? When Vanessa asked about his cowboy outfit, "Hey, cowboy, what are you hunting?" Malone allegedly responded, "I'm hunting for little Mexican girls." She walked away immediately, told Kobe everything on the car ride home, and Kobe called Malone right from the car, furious. "Stay away from my wife! What's wrong with you? How could you?" Kobe told the LA Times he felt hurt and betrayed. This was someone he trusted, looked up to, and it all got thrown away because Malone couldn't act appropriately around his teammate's wife. Malone's response? Through his agent, he denied it, called it a Hollywood soap opera, and basically dismissed the whole thing. Now let's talk about how he played the game. Because even on the court, Malone had a reputation for being dirty. Dominique Wilkins straight up called him out to his face, saying, "You're a cheap shot artist, you're not a man, not a true power forward. You always go out there to hurt somebody smaller than you." Wilkins compared him to Buck Williams, saying Buck was a real man who played physical but clean. Malone? Just dirty. The evidence backs this up. In 1991, he elbowed Isaiah Thomas so hard it split his head open, 40 stitches. In 1998, he knocked David Robinson unconscious. He bloodied Steve Nash's mouth, rattled Brian Grant's teeth. The list goes on and on. Even Hakeem Olajuwon called the Malone-Stockton Jazz pretenders who played dirty while acting wholesome. Coming from one of the classiest players ever, that means something. During the 2004 playoffs, Houston Rockets owner Leslie Alexander publicly demanded Malone get suspended for how he was bullying Yao Ming. The owner of an NBA team called for another team's player to be suspended. That's how bad it was. Malone's response? "I love him too. I wouldn't recognize him if he walked through the door. I could care less about him, really." That's who Karl Malone is, on the court and off it. Someone who takes what he wants, denies any wrongdoing, and dismisses critics with contempt. The NBA knew all of this. They watched it happen year after year, and they still celebrate him, still post birthday tributes, still honor him at All-Star weekends. That's the uncomfortable truth we're finally starting to confront. So when you see Wembanyama reposting that video, or Patrick Beverley calling timeout in shock, or fans flooding the comments demanding accountability, that's not cancel culture. That's people finally saying what should have been said decades ago. The mailman's legacy? It's getting returned to sender, and frankly, it's long overdue.